There is an endless variety of Porsche 911s. There's the Carrera, Carrera S, Carrera 4, Carrera 4S, GTS, Turbo, Cabriolet, GT3, and all of them make perfect sense. But there is one 911 that makes about as much sense as the chocolate teapot. This is it, the Porsche 911 Targa 4 GTS. The reason it makes no sense is because it combines so many conflicting elements and dilutes what makes the purest 911 so special. Here they've taken one of the world's finest, purest sports cars, but added elements that totally contaminate that purity. It's got 4 seats, it's got 4-wheel drive, it's convertible, and it's heavy. Nothing about this car is logical in the slightest. Let me tell you the most pointless thing about this car. It is the Targa Roof. It gives you the option of open or closed top motoring, and I can open it from inside the car or via the key fob, which actually looks like a mini 911. But the way it does it is so incredibly convoluted. The rear clamshell opens up, followed by a pair of shoulder blades that rise up. Then the fabric roof begins to fold away. After that, the clamshell then returns to its original position. And what you're left with at the end is a space that's no bigger than an ordinary sized sunroof. It's like a Rube Goldberg machine. This whole system is a metaphor for the entire car, overcomplicated and ultimately a little bit pointless. That Targa roof has quite a few problems. First of all, you can't operate it while the car is moving, and it's slow. It takes around 20 seconds to open or close. The roof also adds weight. The base Carrera weighs 1,450 kilograms, but the Targa GTS with a 4x4 and the Pdk weighs 1,575. It's more powerful, yes, but that extra weight means it's no quicker in a straight line. On top of that, the roof is loud when you drive the car, in a bad way. You get so much wind noise that you can hardly hear yourself think above 60 miles per hour. It's almost like driving with your head outside an airplane window. Those rear seats I mentioned earlier, well, they're a complete joke. They might look fairly large from the outside, and they come with Isofix fittings for a child seat, but the roll hoop means they're only any good to people who weren't born with the gift of a head. So as I sit here with my neck about to snap off, you're probably thinking that I hate the Targa GTS. But the truth is, I'd buy one in an absolute heartbeat. Realize about the Targa is that it's not designed to make sense, it's designed to look fabulous and stir up emotions in the pit of your stomach. You see 911 coupes and convertibles everywhere you go, but the Targa is just so unusual. It makes 911s exotic again. People look at this thing not knowing exactly what it is. They know it's a Porsche, but they're thinking, why does it look so amazing? I kid you not, I had a Premier League footballer, I won't tell you what team he plays for, he got out of his car to take pictures of the Targa. And if you stop and give people a show by putting the roof down, they absolutely lose their minds. So what's it like to drive? Dude, it is awesome. I had a few concerns when I first got into this thing, but on the road, yeah, it feels just right, I tell you. Behind me, I've got a 3.8 litre naturally aspirated flat 6. In the Carrera, that chapped out 400 horsepower, but here, it's delivering 430 with the same 440 newton meters of torque. With the launch control system, it'll do 0 to 62 in 4.3 seconds, and it'll carry on to 189 miles an hour, or until you hit a tree. What's interesting is the way the car delivers its power. Peak power comes in at 7,500 RPM, way up in the rev range. It'll redline at about 9,000, by the way. And anywhere between 2,500 to 6,000, you don't actually get that much grunt. Sure, there's enough to mash up the average hot hatch, but it's not that impressive by sports car standards. Where this car really comes alive is when you keep your foot in, plant it, hit 7,500, and suddenly it's a different animal completely. It goes from, okay, to holy shit. it actually encourages you to drive like a lunatic. You know what it's like? It's like being on a date with someone who won't give up the goods on the first date. They make you work for it. But when they give it up, oh yeah, boom! The Targa 4 GTS is available with a 7-speed manual box, and it's really, really good, by the way. I've tried it in previous 911s, and it is absolutely epic. And it's also available with this Pdk Dual-Clutch System, which is absolutely flipping brilliant. It's got this auto mode, which is basically psychic. It basically anticipates exactly what gear you need and shifts into it pretty much seamlessly. You don't really feel it changing up or down. But of course, it's also got a full manual mode, and that's when it really, really comes alive. Slide the stick to the left, then use the paddles behind the steering wheel, and they give you exactly what gear you want when you want it. It actually blips the throttle for you as well, so it downshifts, increases engine rev slightly to give you that perfect gear change. And I'll tell you what, this is as good as any manual. If you watch my videos in the past, I've told you I do love a really good semi-automatic system. When they work, they really, really work. One thing I've noticed about the Targa 4 GTS is that it's not that much of an animal by default. You can drive this thing around town, go flying over speed bumps, tackle any road with massive potholes, and the suspension just handles it. The suspension is actually better than some hot hatches. It's unbelievable in that respect. But what you can do is stick it in the hardest suspension mode, and suddenly everything firms up, everything feels more taut, more responsive, more dynamic. And if you want to, you can actually select one of 2 sport modes. The default sport mode does what you expect, really. Increases throttle response, firms up the steering slightly. And if you have it in automatic, it'll keep it in a slightly lower gear than is necessary in order to maximize torque, maximize power. But Sport Plus mode is when this car goes into full beast mode. Drive it in Sport Plus mode in the automatic setting, and it will always default to a gear that's 2 below what you think is necessary. So you could be cruising in 7th or want to cruise in 7th, and the car be like, nah, you need to be in 5th. You could be in 5th, and the car be like, nah, you need 4th right here, buddy. You could be in 3rd, and it's like, no, you need 1st gear because I just want to go. Handling is an interesting one in the Targa 4 GTS. Because it's 4-wheel drive, you lose the 911's inherent desire to be all tail happy and sliding around and all that stuff. But what you lose in inherent power sliding ability, you gain in traction. So you learn to drive this car a different way. Ultimately, it's actually faster because what you can do is turn into a bend and then accelerate a lot earlier than you'd be able to in a normal 4-wheel drive Carrera, because the front wheels and the back wheels dig in together to pull the car around, to get you out of that corner a lot quicker than you'd be able to otherwise. Here's a corner right now. I turn in, put my foot down, little bit of oversteer on the exit, but the stability is incredible. In a Carrera where you might have spun out and landed in a ditch somewhere over there, this thing just keeps you on the road, keeps you pointing in roughly the right direction, and you live to fight another day. As for steering, incredible. This is an electrically assisted system, and you do lose a little bit of oversteer right there on the exit, but loads of traction. You do lose a tiny little bit of feel compared to a hydraulic system, but Porsche have worked so hard on perfecting their electrically assisted systems, and right now, I just have no desire whatsoever to go back to hydraulic, when really, the electrically assisted system feels so damn good. I find myself asking the question, is this car better than a Jaguar F-Type convertible? And I don't have to think that long or that hard about it. It is, in pretty much every single way. The Jaguar F-Type is like Mike Tyson. It's all aggression, it's snarling, it just comes out swinging, it's a real bruiser. But this car's like Bruce Lee. It's precise, it's clinical. It doesn't need 100 punches, it doesn't need haymakers. It just needs a couple of well-placed jabs, bang, 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 and it's game over. Good night, sunshine. It's the kind of interior you can be proud of. You want to invite people in here, show them all this cool stuff and tell them if they touch anything just once, apart from that handle, you'll break every bone in their body.